Welcome to week 120, count it, week 120 of Shark Sports Radio. Alongside of me is Andrew George. He goes by Ticket. It's yours truly, Mark Loisel Jr., aka Shark, right here in the Ocean State. We are live here at Sport and Leisure here in East Greenwich, Rhode Island, the smallest state with the biggest heart. We are proud to be joined with the help of Nate Travis. Nate, thank you very much for hosting this event for us. Come down. It's rocking. We got the NBA Finals on tonight, the NHL Finals. You got the Red Sox and, their debacle of a team going against the Seattle Mariners. You can check it out all here at Sport and Leisure. Before we get started, okay, thank you all for taking a dive in the tank with us tonight. As always, you can tune in using your Apple Podcast, SoundCloud, and or Spotify app. Check us out on YouTube at the Shark Sports Radio channel, TikTok at Shark Sports Radio, and X at SSR34_. Now, we do have to talk about Underdog Fantasy because we do have some, key things to talk about with the extender. The extender is mightily, let me tell you, the extender, the bigger the series, the bigger the boost, the opportunity to make the most out of playoff basketball. It is NBA time. Here in the NBA Finals, you can't beat this anywhere. You go play Underdog Fantasy, you download the app and use the promo code Shark Sports. So, Ticket, with all that being said, all those, elements to this podcast, we've got to talk about Rafael Devers.
Yes,
we have got to talk about the Yankees getting swept by
Secondary.
5 out of 6.
Secondary.
That is secondary now. But then we will also talk about the NBA Finals with the Pacers and the Thunder as Game 5 hits tonight. And then we'll also mix in a little bit of NHL. We'll mix in a little bit of 5 questions. And so let's get it started right off at the top. I think it's most important to talk about Rafael Devers, as you can imagine, Ticket. I was looking at the news last night, right? We were watching Woodstock 99. Right? And you all know that story. That place blew up on fire, right? And that's exactly what the Red Sox did last night. Now, there's one word that comes to my mind in these two different sides of it.
Incompetent?
Petty.
Oh, that too.
It's petty on both sides. Let's start off at spring training, right? Before the season even started, Craig Breslow's like, you know what? Hey, Raph, we're going to try to have you play third base, but we all know we got a gold glover at third baseman in Alex Bregman, and you're not going to play third base. But guess what? They told him that...
Well, clearly they lied to him.
They lied to him, right? So that's number one on Craig Breslow's list of a-hole type of behavior, right? So if you're Craig Breslow and you didn't pay specifically, and I think that's something that gets caught up in a lot. Chaim Bloom is the one that paid Rafael Devers. And the issue that I have with the Breslow situation is you're constructed to build the best roster for your team, Absolutely. Right? Every single GM does that. Every baseball operations front office, their objective is to do exactly that. And guess what? They fell flat on their face when they signed Alex Bregman because they didn't know how to handle that situation. And guess what? If you look at spring training, hey, Raph, you're going to take ground balls at third. Hey, Raph, go play first base. We'll take ground balls just in case Tristan Casas gets hurt, which exactly happened.
Right.
And then, Rafael Devers is like, well, this puts me in a rock and a hard place. Because what am I supposed to do when I'm a incredible batter in Red Sox history, up there with Ted Williams, up there with Carl Yastrzemski, up there with the greats of Roger Clemens, of all time, he has those numbers and he's on pace to do just that.
Was on pace.
But my issue is the pettiness of Devers too. It comes in collective form, and I get it, and I already know where you're headed, and I agree with you. But here's the biggest component for me. Breslow, you did not go shop Devers around. You did not. You didn't go and get your best price tag. What you did was you made a fool out of Devers by going to get guys that don't really matter. And this is basically
Kyle Harrison's in Worcester right now, not Seattle.
Correct. And Jordan Hicks
is on the
Everybody
IL.
talks about Jordan Hicks. Oh my God, he's going to be a great starter. Andrew Bailey, the pitching coach for the Red Sox. Guess where he was last year?
Giants.
With the Giants. Thank you. So all that is a moot point because that doesn't matter anymore.
He also can't contribute if he's not healthy and he's
Correct.
got toe inflammation, prior to the toe inflammation, it's not like he was pitching well.
Correct.
He's got an ERA higher than a touchdown.
Right.
And he's supposed to be the centerpiece of this deal.
The centerpiece of the deal. But I think the reason why they did this deal, this is the main thing. I think the reason why they did this deal is to prove to Devers that this is what you're worth. You're worth 2 guys that have a 6 ERA and 2 guys or 3 guys in the minor league system that probably won't even touch the majors for quite some time. So if that's the case, and they're going to be having a press conference at 8 p.m. Eastern time. They're over, I believe the Red Sox are in Seattle, but front office management.
They actually dragged him off the plane.
Dragged him off the plane, put him in a cab, and said, see you later.
Yep.
What treatment the Red Sox did. So
great example to show all the young guys that you just brought up, by the way.
Fires
great
me
example.
up. But guess what? I got so much hack on X because people were like, you're crazy for thinking about the Red Sox trading Devers. I called it during spring training. I said, trade Devers now because this is going to blow up. Because this is what happens. You have Dylan Cease and you have Suarez waiting there in San Diego, probably waiting for a contract. And guess what? The Red Sox have to be willing to do that, even before they sign Garrett Crochet to that long-term deal. But we all know, Ticket, they don't sign 30-plus-year-old pitchers. We all know they don't sign guys into their second or third contract.
You apparently don't sign anybody.
We don't, exactly.
Because this was supposed to be, we're not signing Mookie Betts because we have Xander and Rafi Devers. They're the future.
Yeah.
And then you don't sign Xander Bogaerts.
Yep.
Well, we're going to pay Devers. And you did.
Yes.
By the way, an extremely friendly contract by superstar standards, which is why the Giants were like, we'll happily pay the remainder of the
$315
contract.
million.
We'll happily pay that. I think we're going to owe $270 or whatever the difference is.
Remaining, yep.
Happily we'll pay it.
Yep.
And, that's the cost. Now, I know you brought up the fact of, they could have shopped it around. The moment they start calling multiple teams and that gets out, it's an even bigger dumpster fire than what it is. So,
Big time.
But you're right. I mean, listen, if the narrative is this was never going to work, this wasn't going to work from spring training, which you knew.
It wasn't.
The first time you ever heard him speak English was when he shut up and was like, no, I'm not going to.
I play third base. I play third base.
Right, yeah. The first time you ever really heard him speak
English.
English.
I played third base.
Which is fine, and that's
which is fine.
Not a knock, by the way, on that. I'm just saying it's like it's funny because the outburst was so he's got the interpreter there.
Yeah. But we all know where this is going. They will trade Travis Story. They will trade Bregman maybe, or they'll let Bregman walk at the end of the year. They will trade one of their outfielders.
Not trade Roman,
No. They won't trade Roman Anthony. They will trade Jaron Duran because they don't want to give him a second contract. That will happen. And Jaron Duran will go on and be a really good leadoff hitter like he has been with the Red Sox. Just like Jacoby Ellsbury was.
Well, that one,
so,
we don't have to bring up that.
Yeah, the one that got away, right? No. Well, for you guys, dumpster fire of a signing. But my whole thing with the Red Sox is you put something in place and you put belief into the Red Sox fan system where you say, we're going to sign Devers, he's here long term, and that's it. Well, John Henry's the one that cut that check, right? And he still was the one that let Rafael Devers go.
He's worried about Liverpool. They just won the Premier League.
Yeah, they won the Premier League. He got booed at the Pittsburgh Penguins game. It's psychoticness. It really is when it comes to the Boston Red Sox, system. It's the way that they've always been built. And it's not fair to a lot of the fans that have number 11 on their jersey in Fenway Park, buying those City Edition jerseys.
Yes, yeah. I had a friend of mine text me yesterday. I literally ordered my jersey, the City jersey, on Saturday.
City Connect. Those things were going like hotcakes. And then also, not for nothing, but if you look at the fan experience was against the Yankees, quite a playoff atmosphere. Now, we gotta shift our momentum towards the Yankees because I feel like the way that series went, and this is why it's blasphemous to me, because I was coming in with the Red Sox hat ticket. I was going to be excited to rock it and be like, you know what? This team has opportunity where it knocks, and they can most certainly do something at the trade deadline, get starting pitching, and find a way to create opportunity to get a wild card, because we all know they're probably not going to win the division. They're way too far down.
Who is, by the way?
Thank you. We discussed that early on before the season started, but guess what? Costas was healthy. Devers was actually not like in a rut with the third base and DH issue, right? And I feel like this is the biggest thing going into this year. I didn't think necessarily the off-field issues would cause a problem, but they have.
I mean, they're going to sell it as why they traded him. But
and I'll tell you what, if we hear Craig Breslow tonight and he says it's the best value we could have gotten for that guy, he's a shell of himself. Sam Kennedy riding that pine. Good luck to you guys trying to face that media tonight, because you're going to get a whole lot of questions. You're talking about a guy that got put into the farm system at 16 years old. Like, he got drafted out of high school.
It was like, everything that they could have wanted him to be and more.
Right.
And he's third in the majors in RBIs. Right. You just talked about, I mean, regrettably so I'm going to say this, but obviously the sweep happened.
Yep.
The Sox swept the Yankees. You call up all these prospects. Now, granted, you're not letting certain guys hit lefties or whatever. That aside, all the momentum was shifted towards Boston at the end of yesterday.
Yeah.
2-0 shutout. The Yankees scored 3 runs in 4 games.
Yep.
An embarrassing performance.
Yep.
All the momentum is in Boston. And
7 o'clock comes around, and I'm watching Woodstock 99 blow up right in front of my eyes, just like the Red Sox.
I couldn't believe it. The Underdog app, which obviously is great for what we use it for, but also, as I've referenced earlier, they also shoot you updates, and look at my phone, watching the U.S. Open, just finished a round down in Richmond, playing golf with the boys, sitting at the bar, and I'm like, there's no way this is real. Jump on X, and I start to see all the confirmations come in from the blue checkmark brigade. It's incredible. And honestly, as a Yankee fan, like, how could I not be happy? The sweep now doesn't matter.
Yeah, Garrett Cole's daddy's no longer in the division.
That guy killed us. Happy
Father's Day to all the fathers.
Absolutely killed us.
Hey.
And listen, he homered yesterday.
Yeah. He homered yesterday, and again, I'm not surprised that this happened. I just think I'm surprised how it happened, right? How it got here. If you look at John Lester, you look at Mookie Betts, you look at Xander Bogaerts, you look at Rafael Devers. The biggest thing for me is, why sign a guy if you're just going to trade him a year and a half later? Because he's not happy, because he doesn't want to play a position that you've been flopping him around. But again,
lied to him, like you pointed out, when they probably approached him about Bregman, they probably said, listen, you're our third baseman. Bregman's playing shorter. He's playing second base because he's versatile in the infield.
Correct.
And obviously, as we know, that didn't happen.
That didn't happen.
And it pissed him off. And then, listen, you could obviously you can argue the other side of it. Devers acted like an a-hole.
I'll tell you what put icing on the cake. John Henry was on the field yesterday, right before the game. Who was taking ground balls at shortstop and throwing them into the stands? Rafael Devers. You think Rafael Devers is going to play shortstop anytime?
He can't play third base.
No
he
way.
refused to learn first.
Yeah.
But listen, you guys had a guy who was, now granted, quirky and fun-loving, but Manny Ramirez, let's be honest.
A great left fielder.
Great. Yeah. Guy refused to
I would have put Devers in left field, because if Manny Ramirez can play left field, so can Rafael Devers.
But at the end of the day, it's I pointed out earlier, it's hilarious to look at how the mismanagement. You guys are acting like you're the Tampa Rays or the Chicago White Sox. You're acting like a small market team.
Yep.
And honestly, as a Yankee fan, I can't say I'm disappointed.
No, but how many times does it have to happen in order for the Red Sox to acknowledge it, right? There's accountability, there's a credibility to it. You're a big market team in Boston. Start acting like it. Brad Stevens did that to the Boston Celtics. The Celtics screen would be outside the front doors of the TD Garden, being very, very unhappy with Brad Stevens.
I mean, one thing you can argue is that, with your point, Brown and Tatum, until they got that title last year, were getting a lot of heat.
Yeah.
And the organization was very supportive of them throughout the entirety of their struggles and everything like that.
Right.
And but as I was mentioning earlier, you look at the guys they just brought up, and they're preached for years. We have Anthony, we have Meyer, we have
all exciting guys coming up.
The next wave is coming up. And what incentive do they have, even if they perform? You want to stay here when you look at how the superstars have been treated the last, like Devers, who literally you couldn't ask for more, as you just said. A guy they took at 16 years old, developed, and you see what happens. By the way, as I pointed out too, very friendly deal for a team. To get a superstar at 26 years old, 10-year deal, and he's one of the best hitters in baseball.
You know what's funny too? I look at the off season, and you look at Alex Bregman's signing. Everybody saw 3 years, 120. If you actually look at the contract, it's only $45 million guaranteed for this year, and he can decide what he wants to do next year. So if anybody thinks that he's going to stay, I got news for you.
Well, do they want to win? Because Bregman came here thinking like, oh, they're building something.
Correct.
And you just sold off the biggest piece of the organization for nothing.
I was stunned when they traded for Garrett Crochet and they signed him on this spot after the trading. That's just wild to me. It doesn't happen. And there's a whole bunch of question marks. And like I'm going to give a shout out to Section 10 guys because they put it in great terms. Craig Breslow's Nico Harrison.
Well, at least you could argue, and I was going to bring this up, at least you could argue the Mavericks got like a super... Anthony Davis, when healthy, is one of the best players in the league.
Well, by far.
And it's a short-term rental. They're selling, now they have him, they have Davis, the fix for Cooper Flag.
He's top 25. He's top 25.
At worst, maybe that. But at healthy, he's one of the best two-way big men in the league.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
Can you say that about
We always
Jordan?
got to bring in the Lakers, by the way, people.
Can you say that Jordan Hicks is one of the best pitchers in
Absolutely
baseball
not.
when he's healthy, when he doesn't have toe inflammation? Can you say Kyle Harrison is...
Logan Webb should have been the guy that they traded for.
Then you could at least say that there's an argument. Hey, like, we might be built to win now. We put him with Crochet and see what happens.
It's just absurd to me. They sweep the Yankees, and then an hour later...
Every bit of momentum that
Devers
you just
is gone.
Every bit of momentum you guys just had.
How?
Out the window.
How?
And we'll see how they respond tonight. But it's a young team, and
I hate
extremely impressionable, like I said, with those guys that you just brought up. What message does this send to them?
It doesn't send a lot. It doesn't send good faith. And again, if you're Jaron Duran, you're like, get me out of town. You're not going to pay me at the end of the year. I don't want to be here. Get me out of town.
Another homegrown guy, by the way.
Another homegrown guy. Willie Abreu, again, a guy that has come up in the system pretty quickly. Who knows is he going to stay, right? It's just... And Roman Anthony hasn't had a hit since his freaking second game. So there's a whole bunch of question marks. But I will say this. When watching the Yankees and Red Sox, it feels like there was like a rivalry back.
There's buzz.
There was a little bit of buzz, right? And, Aaron Judge and Garrett Crochet going toe-to-toe in that game.
Great clutch home run by Aaron Judge, by the way.
Massive clutch home run. And I kind of saw it coming. I was like, walk this guy. But
I don't know. That's what I don't know how you walk him. But you end up winning the game. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
The umps blew the call in the 10th inning.
Yeah. Excuses. Like, how stupid of an organization are they?
I mean, you have to, at this point, I feel like the only way to salvage it is, you play your young kids. You let Meyer hit lefties. You let Campbell go through his growing pains, which they have. I mean, I probably would have sent them back to the minors by now if I were them. But you play the kids. You hope that salvages things in terms of momentum. Mm-hmm. If they play well, if they have some exciting moments, and they go through their growing pains this season, and who knows what happens.
Who knows?
But it's funny because I was mentioning to my buddy the other day, even the Crochet trade, like some of the pieces they sell off, like Kyle Teal was tearing it up in the minors. They just brought him up. Chase Maradith might be the all-star second baseman for the White. He's hitting 290, just under 300.
And
one of the best hitting second basemen.
Montgomery, a really good
prospect.
So yeah, I was again.
Not that Crochet's a bad.
No,
I'm not saying that, but it's interesting the pieces they chose to sell off in that deal.
And just to kind of put this, all to bed, if like with the Devers situation, I think each time got worse, right? Like the John Lester, the parking lot situation with John Henry, that was a bad look. Then you had Mookie Betts not happy in spring training. He's willing to re-sign. Well, he didn't re-sign. And then you also have Xander Bogaerts, who was really the captain, the face of the franchise, and we kind of knew what he turned into now as San Diego Padres, but
I mean, it's a huge contract.
2020, and
but
it's a huge contract.
You sell to the fans, and they were preaching like, well, like I know you're pissed about Mookie, but we have Devers and Xander to worry about.
Yeah.
Devers and Bogaerts.
Yeah.
And you don't pay him, and then at least we'll pay Devers.
Well, at least we'll pay him. And it continues with the Devers situation. And the Devers situation by far is the worst.
Yeah, by far.
I don't understand after sweeping the Yankees, you just turn and trade him. I just don't understand. And you're playing against the Giants this weekend.
No, that's a very good point too.
So good luck playing Rafael Devers and bombs away into McCovey Cove. Screw that. Sorry.
I forgive you. I've heard worse.
Yeah, I know you have. So next on the docket, we're gonna get into the NBA Finals. I like what we're seeing with the Halliburton and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. If you look at the two guys and the way that they've been currently built, clutch, they're finding a way to help out their team at a high level. They're still young age, right? And I think if it was a bigger market team type of finals.
We talked about that on the preview episode. But you're really getting, I mean, obviously the games have been very competitive. You talked about the superstar stat, obviously involved. Interesting thing to me, obviously, like last game, the Thunder rally, SGA putting the team on his back, and you look at and obviously the Pacers have had their moments throughout the playoffs where they've stolen games, like they did in Game 1. Halliburton, quiet for 3 quarters, comes alive in the 4th, and we saw both of them kind of take over in the 4th last game.
Right.
But it's been an entertaining series. Big Game 5 tonight. We're here at Sports and Leisure in East Greenwich. Great spot.
Yeah.
Awesome decor, by the way. Like if you're a sports fan, pop culture fan, they merge the two together.
We're looking at an Iron Mike signed Trunks, the baddest man on the planet, right?
There's a little bit of Jets up on the wall.
Yeah, we got a little Jets. We got Shooter McGavin signed. McGavin. Shout out to Happy Gilmore too.
Yeah, I don't appreciate that the smallest frame in the entire room is the Jets thing, but
oh yeah. Well,
but it's a Sopranos cast.
Yeah, it's a Sopranos cast.
I like that. That's
right. It's
aspect.
A nice little touch.
Yeah, at least they got there's some culture in here.
It's great. We got the replicas behind us with the Lombardi trophies. So
we got to take a look at those because I don't think our franchises combined might get to 6.
Yeah. We definitely have to look at those and take it to heart because we will not see it. We just won't. So, if we're talking about the NBA Finals tonight, right, it's Game 5, right? There's a lot of components going into this game. Really evenly matched. I think Rick Carlisle may be the best coach right now in the series, maybe in the past, 3 to 5 finals. Like, this guy is like coaching up his team at a high level.
Because let's be honest, I mean, a lot of people coming into it, it was a foregone conclusion, the Thunder. Sorry if you look at, like, Vegas odds, one of the bigger favorites up there with the Lakers 3-peat teams early on, with the Heat obviously, and their runs. They were projected to win this game and win this series in 5 games. And now we're going into Game 5 tied up 2-2.
Well, I think I had 6 and you had 7.
7, yeah.
So we're still alive.
We are.
We're still alive.
But we're guaranteed 6.
Guaranteed 6.
We're guaranteed 6.
We're guaranteed 6. So I hope for my sake it gets to 6, but you might get to 7.
Well, I mean, we both said the Pacers are going to be. This is going to be more competitive than people realize.
Yeah.
I feel like the Thunder have like if you look at like totality of like minutes and who's been in the lead and who's played better. The Thunder have had longer stretches of success and playing to their level than I think the Pacers have. But you can't overlook the fact that the Pacers have like Game 4 where they won at home obviously and great for the crowd there too. Like the first time they've won a finals game and
massive crowd too.
Yeah, I mean the environment there.
OKC and India like right there as far as crowd goes and. You had Terry Crews singing Vanessa Carlton with Girls on TikTok.
Yeah.
It was just
obviously Pat McAfee.
Pat McAfee was there.
Caitlin Clark's been at all the games.
Caitlin Clark, badass. Yeah. Like you have a great environment and atmosphere for the NBA Finals, and as mentioned, like you have small market teams. But I really think this is a good kind of transition for the NBA because the CBA rules, right? You had the first apron, second apron, right? So now the salary cap is diminishing. You have Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, probably staying in Boston, but they got Derek White, you don't know. You got Kristaps Porzingis, you don't know. Drew Holiday's probably going to get shipped out of town. Talk about the Phoenix Suns. Shams Charania is reporting that
earlier today,
Kristaps Porzingis getting looked at by the Phoenix Suns. And do not think for a second Kevin Durant is coming in return. Everyone, slow down with that. I hear all the time, he's not coming.
He was not on the list of teams' destinations.
Not on the list, but also they're getting rid of guys for the second apron. Like, what is KD's $30 million, right? So you're canceling Kristaps Porzingis with Kevin Durant, right? You might get rid of Drew Holiday. You might get rid of Sam Hauser. Shouts to Sam Hauser for donating a basketball to charity, by the way. It's fantastic. But if you look at the total scope of the NBA Finals, right, what sticks out to your eye as having the advantage if you're Indy versus OKC?
Yeah, I mean, you look at the last game that the Thunder just won. They took 16 three-pointers, and not to use that as a metric to like rub into Boston fans, where you talk about teams that were, obviously the high-volume three-point game what we were seeing, but the way that they've been winning games, they move the ball really well.
Yep.
The open man is the right man.
Right.
I mean, you think back to like, I hate to bring this up, but reminded of it looking in this room with all the pictures and trophies.
Tom Brady.
But Tom Brady.
Yep.
The open man's the right man.
Yep.
Just find the open man.
Yep.
And that's what they do. They don't care who gets the shots. And obviously down the stretch, they have a guy, a closer, an SGA who can finish games. The way he took over that last game, the step back, fadeaway baseline, the three-pointer lead, unbelievable player. But they trust each other. Yeah. And you look at when they do the post-game interviews on the court, they're all huddled up, 5, 6, 7 guys deep.
Right. It's
a team. It just feels like the chemistry, the way they move the ball, the way they trust each other, and the way they trust their leader. Yeah. And he's such a young player, and that's the fascinating thing. We don't have these proven commodities like we've seen for years, like Steph and LeBron. Yeah. For years, obviously, with the Spurs and Duncan and the big three there with Ginobili and Parker. Yeah. Obviously, Kobe Bryant. We go back to the Celtics with Pierce and Garnett. Yeah. There's not these like proven commodity big stars like you're saying, obviously because of the CBA.
Right.
That's what really stands out to me is you're seeing so much parity.
Good basketball.
Just good fundamental. Yeah. That's what they play. They're a great defensive team. You saw them lock up the Pacers in the fourth quarter the other night. In the second half,
they destroyed them.
Took care of business. And I think you're going to see that tonight in Game 5.
Yeah, and I think with Tyrese Halliburton, right, the way that the Indiana Pacers play is transition basketball, right? Actually, both teams. If you look at both teams, it's really transition basketball. It's a matter of what team is going to turn over the ball more, right? That's the advantage. And the spacing on the floor offensively, the man-to-man defense, the helping on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the helping with J-Dubs on Halliburton. The matchups are fantastic. And I think, like, this is why it's such a good finals is because both teams are like a mirror of each other, right? And, like, you have Aaron Nesmith who's fighting for the loose balls, Alex Caruso fighting for loose balls, match toe-to-toe. I think the X factor in all of this is Obi Toppin. If Obi Toppin can shoot the three ball with Miles Turner, the Indiana Pacers are a tough battle because OKC doesn't necessarily have that like transition defense that can go out and guard the three. They don't have enough like skilled big guys. They do have Chet Holmgren and J Dubs is okay defensively, but they don't have like Andre Robertson like what when he was with OKC Thunder. So I think
George's pretty good on the perimeter.
Yeah.
And he's a very streaky shooter. I mean, you've seen him go 5 for 6 in these games. 6, last game I think he was 0 for 3, 0 for 4.
Yeah.
But once again, they didn't shoot the three. They were 3 of 16 from the outside, and they still won the game.
They still won. And that's one thing that I think Rick Carlisle has a leg up is the in-game adjustments. I saw it multiple times, and you're seeing it. And we kind of talked about it in previous podcasts too, but you're seeing it where like the pick and roll, pick and pop action, there's double, right? There's a double pick at the top of the key, and then Aaron Nesmith goes back around, and Obi Toppin comes up from the free throw line. It sets a screen. They're always moving, and off the ball, on the ball, defensively, offensively, they are outstanding fundamentally team, and it's about time that Rick Carlisle gets his kudos, right? Because when he was with the Dallas Mavericks, they were always in the mix, always. And look, as much as people hate Luka Doncic's defense, guess what? He was playing pretty good defense.
He was active.
He was active. He was average, but at least he was like into it, right? And the attraction for me with the Pacers is they haven't won, right? They made it to the finals once.
Yep. Would you like a reminder of who beat them?
Yeah, you can go right ahead. I already know.
No, well, yeah. Lost LA Lakers.
Yeah, we already
swept them before.
But like, it's nice to see Reggie Miller courtside. It's nice to see all the Indiana guys, right? Even though
Dale Davis in the box.
Dale Davis, like Was Charles not Oakley?
Delif Shrimp's been there. Well, actually, technically played for both teams. Delif Shrimp.
Yeah, Delif Shrimp. Yeah,
for the Sonics.
Chris.
And the Pacers.
Chris. What's his name? Not Sims.
Rick Smith.
Smith. Yes, Rick Smith. So if you're looking at the games to play moving forward, you got Game 5, you got Game 6, you got Game 7. Tonight's back in OKC, right? Who has the advantage going into Game 5?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the home court's big. I think the way they closed out that game and obviously going on a big run and SGA taking over. I just referenced, I know that you said, I think it goes 6, I said 7. I really thought that Game 4 was a must-win for the Pacers.
Yes.
I think they had to go up 3-1.
Yeah.
I think they're in very real trouble of losing this in 6.
And they had it.
They did have it.
I mean, they were up 10 in the fourth quarter with limited time, and I saw an identical image of SGA and Michael Jordan. Not to say that is the case,
but he's the best player on the floor.
He's the best player on the floor, and he's got that gamer mentality, that killer mentality, Black Mamba mentality, and if you can have that in your blood at the end of games, guess what? Your team will win. And I think that's one thing that Halliburton and that team missed out is the opportunity to potentially knock out OKC. Because if you go up 3-1, what is it, 92% of the time?
Yeah.
The team go up 3-1 wins the finals. So it's just a matter of fine details. Both teams looking into not looking into the future, looking into game by game mentality, right? And in-game adjustments. I think that's one thing about this series is the in-game adjustments by both coaches. It's outstanding. You don't see it in NBA Finals. You see the stars take over. But with the coaches, it's uncanny. You never see it.
And how many times, too, do you see with franchises like the Thunder, who obviously went through their growing pains, with a young coach like Dagnall, who's been there throughout it, where the team stinks the first year or two of the rebuild and they get rid of the coach?
Yeah.
Doesn't work. It's not working.
Yeah.
They've all been there. Jordan's been there, SGA, Jalen Williams, obviously Chet Holmgren. You know, they've kept their guys. These are all homegrown players. Isaiah Joe. These are all players that have accepted their role. They know their role. They play together, which is why I referenced earlier. When they do the press, it's not. They talk to SGA. SGA wants everybody there.
Yeah.
Jalen Williams is getting spoken. Yeah. They're all there. They're all rooting for each other.
Yeah.
It's good basketball, fundamentally sound, like you said. The coaching has been great.
Yeah.
From a basketball standpoint, it's been a really good series. You know, we talk about, and there were a list that came out about the top finals, they go all 7 games, and then you think back to the 3-1 blown lead that the Warriors had, and that won 7 games. The only game that was close was Game 7. Every other game was a double-digit blowout. Yeah. You're not seeing that here. The Pacers have been very, and the team that's down in the fourth quarter, you believe in. We've seen the Thunder come back. The Pacers have come back time and time again this postseason. An interesting stat that I saw too, which obviously kind of got broken last game, but in the regular season, in clutch time, where it was 2 minutes or less, and whatever the stat is, games within 5 or 6 points, the Indiana Pacers were 9-1, winning those games. The Thunder were 5-4.
5-4. Yeah, that's nuts. That in itself should read the tale of the series. Now, it's funny because when you look at the Boston Celtics HBO documentary, they talked about how they had theme type of games, right? So in Game 1, what was it? The comeback game, right? The Indiana Pacers came back against the Thunder, right? In Game 2, it was the punch, the feel out game, right? You know, going battle for battle, right? And then you had Benedict Mathurin in Game 3 going for 27 points. Lights out from the field, and then SGA's scoring ability in Game 4 with 30, was it 34?
35 points. 34, I think it was 35.
35 points and 4 boards. So it's just one of those things where people just have to gravitate and just be mesmerized, even if they're not a big market team. They're a small market team, but they're playing like a big market team, and they're playing like they belong. And you're talking about a team in OKC Thunder who had 60+ win season.
Yeah.
With
the MVP.
With the MVP and with the young team And I'll tell you what, if SGA goes on to win the finals and the finals MVP, I mean...
Which he will. And if they win this, he will be the MVP.
That has to go down as one of the best seasons, with Michael Jordan. And Kobe Bryant's in that mix, too. I believe he won, the finals, the MVP, and the championship. So, and Jokic, the same kind of thing, 2023.
Giannis, I think. Giannis didn't win the MVP that year. But still. A guy who has all that on his resume to accomplish that. So,
but the balance of attack, the NBA, how it's turning into fair play, parity, much alive. Every team's much alive going forward in these playoffs. So, talk about much alive. Let's just break down quickly about the Stanley Cup Finals. I know we're not hockey people, but we at least got to discuss it.
Honestly, I mean, I watch casually usually hockey. Postseason hockey is unbelievable. If you're not watching the Stanley Cup Finals, and I don't know how you can enjoy it.
Yeah.
Because these games have been phenomenal. The teams that you jump ahead early, they've been crazy comebacks. The Oilers were down 3-0 and stole the game the other night with Draisaitl in overtime. It's greatness on display, and obviously there's some local rooting interest because of Brad Marchand, and he's been unbelievable.
6 goals.
Yeah, unbelievable.
6 goals.
Not to stick more salt in the wound of Boston sports fans when getting rid of your superstars.
Fault. That's their fault for not managing it correctly. You had Claude Julien the ability to do so for a little while. Bruce Cassidy might have been his best coach in the Bruins.
Who won immediately leaving go with the Golden Knights.
Yeah. And then you have Montgomery, who was just a shell of himself with Brad Marchand. So they didn't know how to use him. Florida does. Florida puts him in the best position, and he's doing what he does best, and that's play playoff hockey, right? When the Bruins did win, he was
he was one of the few guys of their stars that were stepping up.
Correct.
You know about
but
the
he was
struggles
still young.
Some of the,
He was young at that time. Now he's in the mix. Now he's playing above and beyond Connor McDavid. And
that's I think a little bit of a stretch, but I mean McDavid's the best player on the ice.
McDavid just scored his first goal of the playoffs.
He's still an unbelievable player, and what he's doing, getting everybody else involved too. So
all right, maybe his playmaking ability has been crazy, but the goal scoring. Well, guess what? They've lost 1 goal games, 3 of them?
Yeah, I mean, all these games have been very close, very competitive. I would like to see Edmonton win the series just because I want to see greatness achieve great things. And McDavid's obviously the best player in the sport. Right. It would be nice to see him get his ring. But, there's the storyline too of Florida going back-to-back, which is very, of all sports to do it, and hockey has so much parity, and the way they've gone about it. I mean, honestly, I feel the only thing I feel bad for are the goaltenders in this series because it's been been brutal. 5-4 and
it's also been
6-4, 6-5 games.
Yeah, it's also been old school hockey. You're seeing guys, take off the gloves and go at it. You sometimes, not that you don't really see it in the finals, you do, but it's
a different level.
It's a different level. Guys hate each other, and when you have that animosity built in you on the ice.
Especially because they played
your
a year ago in this spot. So it's been a very entertaining series.
Is that our hockey minute? I think that's the most we ever talked about hockey. And I apologize for people that love hockey. We do too, but it is what it is.
And by the way,
we're basketball.
And you can check out the Stanley Cup Finals here at Sports and Leisure.
Yes. Yeah, come on down, check us out. We'll be here up until probably 9 o'clock, if not a little bit later. So let's now transition to 5 questions. 5 questions with yours truly and Ticket here. So I had the first question, and it's one of those things where I was thinking about it before the Rafael Devers situation happened because I wanted to get a little bit of intel in your mind about how good Aaron Judge has been this year and in past years.
How great he's been this year.
Right, but does he become one of the best Yankees of all time without a ring?
No. Unquestionably no.
Flat out no.
Right, because the expectation for the Yankees is not to,
will he
win the pennant.
Better question for you as a fan: will he ever?
Yes.
last year they had the ability.
It might not be. It might not be in New York, but
yeah, and it might not be in New York.
No, listen,
maybe San Fran. Maybe San Fran's like, hey, come back over here.
We're not. Well, he had his chance to go to San Fran.
That's what I mean in free agency.
Yeah, but
yeah,
the Yankees. I don't foresee the Yankees getting rid of the face of the franchise like some other franchises do.
Okay, so you asked me a Red Sox question that pops in your head right now.
Oh man, I mean, there's a very fresh one. I could
put you on the spot. Go ahead.
Had they kept Mookie Betts?
Yep.
Had they kept Xander, obviously now we know Devers, we know John Lester.
I know this.
Which one of the four do you? And obviously this one's very fresh. Which one of the four do you find the most egregious, or the one that could have, had they kept, led to the greatest amount of success?
So the easy decision could go Raffy, but I'm not gonna say Raffy. The other easy decision could be John Lester because it started all this shit.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go with Mookie Betts because Mookie Betts is going to be a Hall of Famer. Like, and I get that he's from California and people are saying, well, he would have signed anyway. He spoke on podcast. He was crying about leaving the Red Sox. Like, he wanted to at least, wear that uniform. And who knows, like, if the California, like I said, him being from there, maybe it played a major factor in it, right? But I just think that Red Sox ownership has dropped the ball way more than often, right? And with Mookie Betts, that might go down as one of the worst trades in sports history. Not even in baseball history, of all time sports. I can't even tell you what they got in return. I think it was, let me guess, it was Alex Verdugo, Connor Wong,
Jeter Downs.
Jeter Downs.
I think Webster was earlier.
David Price.
Webster was earlier than that. It was
Wong,
Downs.
Adrian Gonzalez was Al Webster, I believe. But yeah, it was Jeter Downs and Connor Wong, and Alex Verdugo.
And they could have got Bruiser Gatterall, but they decided not to.
They decided not to.
And then he's been I guess he's had some injury issues, but at one point he was like lights out setup guy for the Dodgers, throwing 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, he's pitching lights out. So if I was to answer your question in multiple ways, the easy path would go Devers right now. The hardest one would be John Lester because it started all this baloney. And then I feel like for me personally, it's the Mookie Betts because it carried on the tradition of not signing your guys, and then you had Bogarts and so on and so forth. And like I don't know how Dustin Pedroia got away with it. Maybe because he was so freaking cheap. And he was such a dirt dog of a player.
Yeah, he was a dirt dog.
100%.
He was the quintessential dirt dog.
The quintessential dirt dog for the Red Sox.
A scrappy little engine that could.
Yeah, I know you want to say the other word, but fuck Manny Machado for ruining his career. So, as far as NBA rumors goes, we're hearing about Kevin Durant. We're hearing about Trae Young. We saw the Desmond Bain situation happen with the Magic, right? Was KCP got traded, right?
Cole Anthony,
and then four first-round picks.
Which I think it's really three because they swap picks,
yeah.
But it's four and then they swap the first rounders.
So, I'm gonna ask you, and then you ask me, who you feel like will be the next player out and which team?
Well, I guess it's easy to say Durant because of the report that came out today with he's got San Antonio, Miami, and Houston as his short list.
And he does not want to go to Minnesota.
No.
Shams is like, he does not want to go to Minnesota. I mean, who would?
Yeah, and
Anthony Edwards.
He did say he intends on signing a long-term deal with that team.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Durant's probably the easy answer. Trae Young is an interesting one.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Desmond Bain deal, I don't know what they would really have left to give up, but if I were the Orlando Magic, I would, and I don't know if Atlanta would trade him in division, but I think that's an interesting talking point, is Trae Young going there. I think you've alluded to.
I think Darius Garland.
Garland's another one. Because you can argue like, the East is wide open next year.
Yeah.
So now you look at the roster that the Magic have with, they needed shooters. They needed backcourt scoring. We know that. It was very evident in the Boston series.
Yeah.
They were historically the worst three-point shooting team since the 2015 Lakers.
Yeah.
So, terrible three-point shooting team. Now you bring in Bain, who's a very good shooter. He's led the league in 3-point percentage shooting since he's been in the league. Yeah. By the way, Celtics draft pick in the second round.
Yep, second round.
So Denver played a game for Boston. They got traded on draft night.
Well, see it. It's like Denver. See it.
Yeah, see you later.
We don't want you. We don't want you. Just cut your ass.
Yeah, I think Durant's probably the easy answer here because I think with the East being as open as it is, if some of these teams make a move for KD, they're immediately in contention. Yeah. I mean, the Knicks coming on. Not that he put the Knicks on his list, and he had a chance to sign there years ago, and he picked Brooklyn over them.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting.
People are begging for him to go to the Spurs. You mentioned him, Wembanyama, and De'Aaron Fox.
Yep.
That's hard.
Rookie of the year, Stephon Castle, who, by the way, UConn
yep.
national champion.
Devin Vassell.
Yep.
Probably get traded.
Probably have to trade Castle too.
Castle, really? You think Castle?
Maybe, yeah.
I think Keldon Johnson, I think Vassell, I think they would try to stay away from trading Castle. And I think Sham said it, and Jake Fisher of the Bleach Report and Sideline, they did say that the package that Bane was for Memphis is not going to be the same return for Kevin Durant.
So I'm glad you brought that up. Main reason being is they're picking up Bane's contract.
Correct.
So that's a...
But for first-round picks?
Not just that, but they're also offloading Caldwell Pope, whose contract's abysmal. They couldn't if they were to trade him straight up, they would have to give away picks just to unload the contract.
Right.
So,
but the notion of trading it for Kevin Durant, as Shams has also reported, that he's going to sign long-term wherever he goes, wherever that trade is happening.
Right. Yep.
So that's the reason why he's specific on destinations, because he's a free agent at the end of the year. He's going to decline his option, and he's going to sign a long-term deal, probably just flat out do a contract extension on the spot. So give me a question regarding NBA free agency.
Yeah, so I mean, the Boston Celtics saw, and this is, I guess, not as much free agent related, but being a Celtics fan, being that they're in this weird spot where, many people question they're probably not going to be in contention to come out the East, although who knows what happens.
Who knows?
Are you mortgaging at all this offseason, mortgaging the future a little bit to try and win next year? Seeing that, obviously what kind of happened, and you look at the landscape of the Eastern Conference, you make a move or two, you're probably in the mix. Or are you punting on next season, trying to maybe acquire assets down the road to then win when Tatum, because it's not just next year that Tatum's out. You got to think it's going to take a little bit of time for him to get right.
They're saying February timeframe.
But even so, if he returns, it's still now you're getting 100% Jason Tatum.
You're getting probably 80%, maybe 75%. There's two ways I like to paint this, right? So I think that Jaylen Brown deserves an opportunity to be the guy, right? And this is kind of the way to showcase that he can be the guy. Now, if Houston calls you and says, I'll give you Amon Thompson, Jabari Smith, and Sengun,
that's a...
and you get 2 first-round picks.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
Yeah. I mean, a haul, an absolute haul.
Theoretically, you get a huge haul. How can you say no to that, right? How can you say no? But I think Jaylen deserves the opportunity to showcase what he can do by himself. And if there's any reason for Derek White to be gone, is again you can get the most for him. I wouldn't specifically trade him. I'd probably trade more assets around those guys, like Kristaps Porzingis and Drew Holiday and Sam Hauser maybe. I just think with the Sam Hauser situation, you have a flexible contract, a guy that shoots 42% from 3.
And let's be honest, he probably works in Boston a lot more than he will in other places.
Yeah. But example, look at Duncan Robinson and Tyler Hero in Miami, right? That's the type of team that he would need to go to. I'm not saying you ship him his ass to Miami by any means. I'm saying that type of team that could use shooting around the perimeter and make a living. And that's what he did. I mean, the Clippers come to my mind too. I mean, maybe you could ship Drew Holiday along with Sam Hauser and get something in return from the Clippers.
Paul George,
Chris Dunn.
Oh no, he's with
Philly. Chris Dunn comes to mind. Maybe their first-round pick. Maybe you get a second first-round pick. Although they had 2 first-round picks this year, so maybe they get a third. But there's a lot of areas where they can develop without touching their core guys. But if somebody calls you, and we heard it for Kevin O'Connor from Yahoo Sports, Kevin O'Connor said if they get a grand like prize, how can you not? Because you're gonna be without Tatum, right? So you're gonna be lagging a little bit anyway. So Derek White, you don't know what the value is out there. You gotta feel it out. But also Derek White and Jason Tatum have a good relationship. They're like best friends on the court. So you don't want to burn that bridge with Tatum. So they gotta be very, very delicate how they treat this. But there's three guys that come to my mind: it's Drew Holiday, Kristaps Porzingis, and Sam Hauser.
Yeah. And Durant's destination then becomes more interesting because if he doesn't end up in Houston, say he goes to Miami.
Yep.
Do the Rockets then say, well, we missed out on him, let's make a play for Jaylen Brown?
Correct. I think that out of the teams with San Antonio, with Houston, they could absolutely.
I mean, they have the assets. They have tremendous assets that they can.
If they miss out on Kevin Durant, they will be calling the Celtics and saying, "Hey, what do you want from him?" And they'll also be calling Houston. The San Antonio Spurs will be calling Houston asking for Jalen Green because Jalen Green is also on the chopping block. Sounds like, and Phoenix has done a little bit of background on him, but they also want to trade him. Shams Charania has said it too, that they want to trade him after if they acquire him to Kevin Durant to get an extra pick. But there's also rumors, just to inform people out there, Maslach, I think Tom King's reported this. Jay King, sorry, went to school with Tom King. They're reporting that Brad Stevens is looking to trade up into the draft. So they're trying to probably try to get drafted like a point guard. Boogie Flan comes to my mind, maybe. Maybe Walter out of Florida. He's a guy that can flat out shoot the ball, but also be a combo guard coming off the bench. So there's a lot of sticking points to this offseason. Brad Stevens, I have full trust in because he's proven it.
Yeah, he has.
His track record is incredible within, 2 or 3 years now. So I really believe that there's something there. So moving on, as my screen wants to play sleep on me. Let's stay in the summer conversation, right? We're getting all this crappy-ass rain, but then we got nice weather this week. Next week we got 95 degrees. We're feeling it. We're going to hop in the pool at my house, get some drinks flowing, have a grill.
Main Street, East Greenwich, by the way, great spot.
Main Street,
Sports and Leisure.
You got Sport and Leisure, you got Main Street Coffee, you got the whole strip down here on Main Street in East Greenwich. Be here. We're talking seafood, right? As far as the menu goes, what's on your mind with the seafood selection?
Oh man, you can't go. I mean, obviously, like there's the classic. You get the bucket shuck.
You always go with the classic.
You got the classic, the bucket shuck. But calamari obviously comes. I'm a big calamari
Banana
guy.
peppers in the mix with the calamari.
I don't mind
standalone.
I don't mind
a little bit of garlic dressing on top.
Yeah, marinara or some places the sweet Thai chili.
Oh, sweet Thai chili, yeah.
As an alternative, we don't hate that.
Okay.
Shrimp, little grilled shrimp action.
Yeah.
It was actually not to shout out other businesses, but no free ads. But Terraza, they do a phenomenal grilled Mediterranean.
Yeah, no free ads.
No free ads, but I'll mention them if they want to.
Terraza, shout
out. So yeah,
Sport and Leisure, shout out.
Big salmon guy as well.
Yep.
When I'm out.
Salmon, huh?
So yeah, big salmon guy.
I like salmon.
Teriyaki salmon, once again, a little bit of the Asian theme. Nice grilled salmon. Little maybe mango salsa.
Mango salsa, little cream sauce. Okay.
So those are some of the staples.
So basically everything that is on the seafood menu picked out.
I left lobster alone.
My go-to is shrimp. I can eat shrimp for days. It doesn't matter if it's baked stuffed shrimp. It doesn't matter if it's cocktail shrimp. It doesn't matter if it's shrimp and pasta. I like it all, but steamers as well. We go to the Newport Seafood Festival. You got the oysters, the clams. Clams Casino. You got Stuffies rolling in. Stuffies is great too. But yeah, I would say for me, it's the shrimp cocktail. But also baked stuffed shrimp with a little side of mashed potatoes and maybe a steak on the side. I mean, it works.
We got Mrs. Shark here too, so she can probably attest to the. What's the go-to? For seafood?
Like a restaurant?
Or just food?
Just in general.
What are you ordering?
Lobster.
Lobster, see?
Lobster.
I didn't say lobster, so Mr. Shark could say it.
You did. You got the lobster roll. You got the cold lobster. I'm not a big fan of the hot lobster. Give me a nice, buttery bun with
the rolls, lobster roll,
with the ice cold lobster.
That's my favorite.
Yeah, it's my wife's favorite. So we're gonna play Would You Rather's. So one of my colleagues in at work is the Would You Rather king, right? So it's just crazy to me because the stuff that dude comes up with is just tremendous. So like I said, he's the Would You Rather king. So we're gonna do Would you rather change sexes every time you sneeze, or not know the difference between a muffin and a baby?
Oh man. That's a crazy question.
And shout out to Sam Vinciguerra out there. One hell of a question, let me tell you. He said it. He said, you got to add this. And I'm like, yeah. How can I not?
It's a warped question.
Yeah.
I definitely sneeze more than I eat muffins.
Me too.
So I'm going to say I could go the rest of my life without eating a muffin.
Yeah, so here's the thing with
the sex change thing would be, every time you sneeze would be tough.
Every time you sneeze.
Because what if you have a cold?
Yeah.
It's too much change.
Too much change. Allergy season, we got pollen up the wazoo.
Luckily I don't have allergies, so I'm not even considering that.
It's just one of those things where...
I'm definitely going muffin, not doing the difference. Because then I could just not eat muffins and I'll never eat a baby.
Okay. That's a good key component, but here's my thing. I'm a big muffin guy, right? I like the mini muffins.
Because you could do scones instead. It's a dry muffin, basically.
You could do scones.
Yeah.
But here's my thing. If I'm going for a muffin, I can easily get confused between baby's eyes and blueberries.
Yeah, that's
right.
True, yeah.
So you gotta be cautious. It's a risky business, and also chocolate chips. Like,
chocolate chip muffins are very popular.
The chocolate chips, it's either the black eyes or the brown eyes, right? You got the blueberries, blue eyes. I mean, it's not probably navy blue, but like it's flirting with that. It's blue enough. But the would you rather change sex is every time you sneeze. The question to that is no. I sneeze at least fucking like 2-3 times a day.
It's too much change.
It's way too much.
Because then the outfit won't work.
Yeah. I mean, think about this. Think about this. You sneeze at your desk, right? And you're wearing short sleeves, some sandals, and then you sneeze, right? I mean, we're flirting with a little 2025 action here, so maybe we're going down a dark path.
Yeah, that's a little tough.
Hands down, the difference between a baby and a muffin.
Yeah, that's me too. I just want muffins. That's my answer.
Well, it's hard for me because I like muffins. Right? And like,
you asked me a question, I'm answering it. I don't want to eat babies.
No, I get it. I don't want to eat babies too. I got a beautiful niece. I do not want to eat Rose. In comparison to a muffin, getting all confused with it.
Just lay off the muffins.
Yeah, but I easily sneeze at my desk, the loudest. Everybody goes, turn off the sprayers, because like I am literally loud, and I get it from my dad. Shout out to my dad. I get it from my dad. Happy Father's Day. But I get it from my dad because when I was a kid, I'd be upstairs in my room, he'd be downstairs, in the kitchen or the living room, and he would hack a sneeze so freaking loud, my floor would vibrate.
Oh.
So,
I'm a loud sneezer too.
It's just growing up.
I'm a loud sneezer.
You're a loud sneezer?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Pat.
Yeah? Big sneeze guy?
Yeah.
Alright. Well, at least we got that out of the way. So would you rather?
Would literally be gender fluid. Yeah.
It would be. It would be gender fluid. So, to round out the 5 questions, again, we're at Sport and Leisure.
Is this one going to be as hard-hitting as the last one?
Not as hard-hitting. No, you're right. We're at Sport and Leisure here in East Greenwich on Main Street. Shout out to the smallest state with the biggest heart, Rhode Island. So, Ticket, we're in the upstairs room, right? Got a lot of special memorabilia all over this place. As we said in the beginning, you look around this room, it's fantastic, right? So, if you were to create a sports bar, what would you name it? And what would be your first purchase, to put on the wall?
Well, the first purchase one's easy.
Yeah, slide Aaron Judge.
No, Kobe Bryant.
Okay.
Kobe Bryant, but I don't know if this is cheating. But I gotta go 2. I gotta go 8 and 24.
8 and 24.
And then you frame them up together.
Okay.
Him holding up the photo in the frame of him holding up the number 5 as he's standing on the scorer's table.
Okay.
After he beat the Boston Celtics in Game 7 at the Staples
off,
Center.
right? Yeah.
Game 7.
Yeah, I love how you just jabbed the Celtics right in it. What a day, what a night for the Boston sports teams.
Yeah, I just had to throw that one.
We get shot by Ticket over here with a little jab.
Well, you know,
and then
it's bad
Rafael
enough.
Devers gets traded last
It makes
night.
the sweep irrelevant this weekend.
Yeah, it does.
It really does.
It really does. For me, what were you going to call it?
Well, I want you to answer the memorabilia question.
Really? I'm putting me on a fucking spot.
Well,
yeah.
It was your question.
That's true. I want to get... I did write it. Shut up. I'm a big Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett Big Three fan. Ray Allen can stay out, right? Shout out to you, UConn fan, but Ray Allen, stay out. It's KG and Kevin Garnett. I want a piece of each jersey from the 2007-2008 championship finals jersey. One side is Paul Pierce with the 3, and then the other side is 5 for Kevin Garnett. And I just want to mix it, kind of same with you with the Kobe Bryant situation, but have it signed by Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce. So if you guys are listening, I mean, come on, we're sitting right here.
Yeah, I mean, they might be doing a stream for the finals too. Paul Pierce might have his hired.
We made
girlfriends.
We may
on the
be
stream.
not as important right now to them, but also the Lakers can obviously get what you need in return. So, but yeah, as we mentioned, Iron Mike memorabilia, Shooter McGavin in the corner. Tom Brady jersey up in front. This place is awesome. If you guys have an opportunity to come down Sport Leisure, hit up Nate. Nate will guide you upstairs to check this out. And we're all chilling here on the couch.
The big screen behind us.
Ready for the finals, the NBA finals, and the NHL finals. To cap all this off, what would you name the bar?
Straight Shooters.
Straight Shooters.
Because it's
all right.
A play on.
Well.
Sports aspect and
where is it going to be? I mean, that's where you gotta be very, very cautious.
Location.
Yeah. Location matters.
Yeah, and with that name too, because not to disparage certain neighborhoods, but Southside Chicago might not be the best place.
Probably not the best. We're gonna go Sharks Island.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
We're gonna go Sharks Island for a nice little sports bar.
So when you retire with Mrs. Shark, and you head to say somewhere in Florida.
Somewhere in Florida, maybe Hawaii. We're big Hawaii fans. Hawaii is expensive to live there, but we will make it happen.
Expensive to live, but maybe cheap to run a sports bar.
Sports bar right on the water, right? I mean, it's hard not to live on the water or have a company on the water. But I will say, Hawaii is a fantastic, and what a transition. We have
Land Shark could be one of your sponsored beers.
Oh, they can. Yeah. Shout out to Jimmy Buffett, R.I.P. So, and actually, I don't know if you know, but there's a Margaritaville resort in Cape Cod. It's brand new.
Oh,
Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Shout out to them. Mad expensive though.
I'm actually headed to Atlanta in a few days, and that was one of the places we were looking at staying was Margaritaville because it's right in Olympic Park down there.
Okay, so we have to discuss really quick of Hobby of the Week because I have breaking news that people don't know. Sorry for you. I gave away my Tua Tagovailoa card for $275. Now I got a nice little surprise for ticket.
Surprise.
Stay there. Not that you're gonna move anyway.
No, I don't move much.
Yeah, no, we're live. I don't give a fuck.
I'm very curious what this could be.
Yeah, your job is to keep talking, dude.
Shark's making his way back over.
Yeah. So,
which you can obviously see
again
because we are live.
Again, I sold the Tua Tagovailoa card for $275. Sorry, Tyler, for you. I had to do it. My brother gave it to me as a gift, but I had to do it. I had to. It was a hole in my heart.
Oh, I see this. Hard.
And so, I had this built up for today. So we had a nice, and I know you didn't come prepared.
I actually did bring something.
Excuse me.
Don't come prepared.
All right. So this is we'll do segment 1 of the Hobby of the Week. You can talk about your boy Anthony Volpe. A nice little blue foil.
I don't know if I have positive things to say about him right now.
Yeah.
But he is hitting around 250.
He's the Yankee.
But I appreciate this. This is a gift for me.
Yeah, it's good for you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yes, Anthony Volpe. He is homegrown, obviously. Jersey kid, grew up loving the Yankees.
Yeah.
We're probably going to sign him to a big contract and not trade him.
Not trade him.
Not trade him.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if we want a big contract.
Hold on.
Fair market
Is
value.
this numbered? No, you can have it. No, I'm just kidding.
I like the blue on blue though, matching the
blue.
Yankee uniform. So Very nice. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
Good.
Appreciate it. All right, so I gotta show off.
I didn't come
these.
prepared with a gift. I will say that.
Yeah, who cares? So
maybe I'll buy back your Tua card.
I got a Garrett Crochet. So I am talking about these cards because this is only my happiness right now with Rafael Devers, what happened last night, as Red Sox fans can probably allude to. So I got a Garrett Crochet numbered 199, signed, autograph, RPA, rookie patch auto. Got it for $30 on eBay. It's a steal. Moving on, a Roman Anthony signed numbered card out of 99, America's best when he was a rookie in the minors, and then we also have Marcelo Mayer out of 199 signed. So I got these three.
That's the guy who can't play against lefties.
Correct. Yes, Abraham Turo is the guy that usually bats for him, or Romy Gonzalez. Sorry.
Now Romy's actually been really good.
He's been great. They're batting around 300. But also what I got in return was a Cade Cunningham signed card, numbered out of 99. I got an Eamon Thompson signed card, graded PSA 9 for, I think it was like $30.
Could be a future
So,
Celtic.
not to brag about this, but I got all these cards, and I got Cade Cunningham, Eamon Thompson, and what was the other one I just said?
You said Garrett Crochet, and Thompson. Oh, why am I blanking? You just said it was an NBA player.
Oh, fuck it. But 6 cards for Tua Tagovailoa.
Cade
Cunningham and Eamon Thompson.
Cade Cunningham's an absolute stud.
I had Paulo Banchero on the hook, and somebody jumped in and said, wait, this is a number card, so my apologies. Shout out to him for screwing up my excitement. But no, 6 cards for $275. Pretty good job, pretty good deal. There is a lot of value here, and let's pull up your hobby of the week. So we got some expensive items up in this place, huh? Well, like all around here, we got some good ass cards tonight. I mean, what do you got?
So this guy recently, obviously signed with the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are playing the New York Jets Week 1. This is in his college uniform out of National Treasures, numbered to 25 patch. Aaron Rodgers in his Cal uniform.
Wow.
So
Nice.
I bought the card raw for, it was about $200.
$200.
And I got a PSA graded 9, so.
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Pretty good deal. Well, what was the number?
I think it's 7 out of 20. Yeah, 7 out of 25.
7 out of 25. So, man, if
Aaron
you're not,
Rodgers,
I'm telling you guys.
All the joy you brought me running out of the tunnel with the American flag and then tearing your Achilles.
Ticket, you can allude to this because you're, a card guy, but I'm telling you,
That was brutal.
if you go on eBay,
I don't know why I did it to myself.
I don't know why either. I mean, he might go down as the Hall of Famer for sure.
Not might, he will. He's one of the top 10 quarterbacks of all time.
Okay. But not with the Jets.
No. He will not be going in the Hall with the New York Jets.
He will not be. But I will say, if anybody wants to get into the hobby, right, collecting cards, the best way to do it is go on eBay, and you filter the bids, and you get people that are just bidding out cards left and right, and they don't know the value. And also, if there's limited time left, jump on those bids because there are people that sleep. And like, if you're not like, alive and well with the card game, you don't sleep.
You're not sleeping.
You don't sleep. So, just be on your game. I got these again. I got Marcelo Mayer for $30. I got Roman Anthony for $50. And I got Garrett Crochet signed auto, rookie patch auto for $30. So, pretty good how, I think with Tua Tagovailoa, again, had a hole in my heart for a long time because he kept getting hurt.
He's still the background on yours.
I just couldn't respect it. No, he's not.
I thought it. Oh,
that's my dog. That's my dog Benny. Shout out to Benny.
Shout out Benny.
Shout out to Benny.
But I thought I saw some dolphin.
No, he's not on there. No.
There it is.
He's not on there.
It's Tua.
Yeah. Well, I had to get rid of the card because the card was just sitting there, and I was like, you know what? He's probably not going to play past 27, 28 years old. Unfortunately, he's 26 years old. So
Quinn Ewers is the future.
Quinn Ewers is the future. Hopefully Miami has a better head on their shoulders with protecting Tua moving forward. But nonetheless,
Tua needs a better head on his shoulders to protect Tua.
Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact.
Slide.
So slide. Create opportunities for Jaden.
By the way, Tua from
Jalen
Hawaii, you
Waddle.
can check out your bar once he's retired. You're both retired and get in there.
Yeah. Shout out to Dan Marino too. Hopefully he comes by. But thanks for Sport Leisure for hosting us. This is a
Great
fun
spot.
event.
Awesome room.
Great
Here on the
spot.
second floor. East Greenwich.
I'm telling you, their menu is incredible. I think they have great egg rolls on there. They have great pizza, some real good wings, quesadillas. I'm telling you, Main Street is where you need to be on weekends, during the week. Even if you want to come check out the game tonight, right? It's still a place to be. So shout out to Nate Travis for hooking us up. This has been fantastic. And hopefully we'll be back here soon. But you got any final words?
No, I mean, can't wait to enjoy these games. Can't wait to have a drink. So that'll be, I was obviously being very professional these last hour and a half or so.
Yeah, whatever works. We'll get some drinks flowing and we'll get some grub. Appreciate everybody tuning in. See ya.